And welcome to Terrafirmacraft Season 2. This is Joseph, and I had to redo this. I started recording it on my old computer, and then I realized that I kept crashing whenever I tried to run fraps, which just means that the technology has advanced to the point where my hardware couldn't keep up, so I up and bought a new computer. So I decided to start fresh with my new computer. I'm recording the sound raw as we go, which is a little bit different than what I usually do, but it's certainly going to be more efficient. I did successfully copy a world that I had started on my old computer, but I'm going to go ahead and just start a new one. I'm going to call it a whole new world. And game mode survival. Okay, so I'm going to allow, I don't know if this is actually going to work, but I am going to allow cheats just in case I need to generate an item or something that I lose. But let's just see what happens here. So this is Terrafirmacraft. This is the epic survival mod for Minecraft, which in itself is a survival game. So you can imagine the wonders that are Terrafirmacraft. Okay. So here we are in the world now. I do have a starting inventory mod, and unfortunately I just did not oh, there's a bear. Unfortunately I did not program it to all these stone tools are, I'm not going to say useless, but stupid. So I'm going to get rid of all of those, and frankly I just need to spend some time with that. But I will take these old school Minecraft torches. So Terrafirmacraft, ooh, I like this location. First of all, we've got marble, and a little bit of a lag spike there. Oh, there's the bear. Let's run away. Wow, I love this, actually, this starting location. It's great. We're getting just a little bit of lag during World Gen. I should really turn down my view. And let's do this. Oh God, that lag is terrible. Hopefully that fixes itself. So this is a great starting location for a number of reasons. First of all, it's marble, and you really need flux-stone, and that is going to, I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's only 4 rocks. There's like 20 rocks in the game, and only 4 of them are considered flux-stone, which is important for building and metalworking and stuff. And so that is one reason why this is an excellent location, because marble is a flux stone. Second, we've got clay right here, literally right where I'm standing, which is one of probably the most important early game thing. Ooh, we've got tetrahedrite. You're going to get used to my conventions. I use red to mark surface ores that I discover like this. Yeah, this is great. I'm going to go ahead and grab these because I'm going to need them. Got bushes. Bushes are always good. Source of food. And we've got this nice river. We've got pigs. And another thing I was going to say, we have Douglas fir trees, which are probably, I wouldn't say necessarily the most efficient, but probably the second most efficient tree in the game, as far as quickly getting large amounts of wood. Willow probably arguably is better, but Douglas fir is right up there, and certainly a lot prettier to build with. So it's yeah, we've got a really good starting location. I don't know where I'm going to settle down, but right now all I'm doing is gathering resources. That's what you want to do when you start out a game of Terrafirmacraft. It's a survival mod, so you got to gather these resources. I've just killing some of these leaves. You get saplings from doing that. You also get the sticks, which is what I was really after. And these are hickory, and hickory is useful wood as well. It's nice. It looks nice. It looks really nice. I think it's pretty dark. And more importantly, it is useful for tanning leather, which is an important crafting mechanic in this game. And we will certainly be doing a bunch of that as we go. Let's go ahead and craft our first few tools as I swoop in and get the rest of this tetrahedrite. Okay, so what you want to do when it comes to crafting tools, yeah, I think I've marked that that's a pretty accurate shape of where I found these nuggets. You're going to want to go ahead and get more than one stone, so you need at least two. And then you get this crafting grid when you right-click your stone. I've got marble, but you'll have whatever rock type you end up with. And then you just shape it into things. This happens to be the shape for an axe head. You can see there's little prongs there and a blade. Oops, I screwed that up. And I always make about 3 or 4 of these guys because you're going to use them, and if you get into trouble, you're definitely going to use them. And unfortunately, the durability on these guys is extremely low, so you need a bunch of them to keep up. Okay, I'm going to make 2 knives. This is the knife pattern. You can do that just one standalone, or you can do 2 at a time because they fit in the grid. I'm also going to make a shovel, importantly. And I'm going to make a hammer. Hammer, you just come down here like this. Oops. Like that. And that's I'm gonna leave it at that for now. There are other stone tools we will be making. You can make javelins and what else can you make? I don't even know. There's a bunch of stuff you can make, but right now this shovel's most important because we've got to get this clay, and you gotta move fast in Terrafirmacraft because the night is dark and full of terror, as somebody once said. And it really is in this. It's the enemies in TFC are just god awful. They're powerful, they're deadly, and you just want to avoid them. Now, how do I know there's clay here? Well, it's so obvious. It's these little flowers, these goldenrods. Just look for those in your world. If you have trouble finding those, you might be in a dry biome where you have dry grass instead of normal grass. If that's the case, just try to find a wet biome. As you can see in the upper left, there's a mod called Finger in the Wind that tells me sort of personal observations about the weather conditions. It says the air is cool and damp, and I like that. That is exactly what I want right now. The reason it says cool is because we're up north. There we go. We got 64 clay now. I'm going to switch to my knife now and start hitting these guys. These are grass, and we are just... There's another tetra. We are getting the grass because we need it for processing clay. It helps with... we have to do fire to process our clay. So that's why we are picking up this grass. And look, we've got more tetra. This is so freaking convenient. Okay, so it's convenient because you also, by the way, you want to try to avoid holding tools, especially low durability tools like stone tools, when you harvest these leaves. I'm just going to grab a sapling from the Douglas fir in case I happen to leave this biome. I'll be able to grow Douglas fir wherever I go to. That's just how I play. I like to be inherently mobile, but you can play however you'd like. Okay, so anyway, you need... I was saying it's convenient because one of the first technological barriers that you'll encounter in this game is the... it's the fact that you need tools, and your first tools are going to be copper tools once you get past the Stone Age, and so you really need copper. Copper is your first technological barrier to overcome. So the fact that we found, I already have 12, which is enough to make a single copper tool, well, that's just incredible. And here's another one right over here I saw. The only thing that can make the starting location better would be cassiterite and, cows and sheep, frankly. You do get a little bit of lag typically in TFC, and in this case, I'm getting a decent amount, but not. It's very short-lived, so I'm okay with that. If it gets much worse, I might change some settings around a little bit. I will give a lot of credit to this mod pack author. for doing such a good job of optimizing WorldGen. WorldGen in this is beefy because it requires a lot more depth, literally depth, in the WorldGen, because the layers it goes down to like 300 blocks. We're at, well, maybe not 300, but we're at 150 elevation right now. So it goes down 150 blocks. In standard Minecraft, it only goes down like 60 blocks. So you can see it's like 2.5 times deeper, which is beefy. And that's why we get this lag. Now, I am interested in a coastal scenario. It would be okay. Okay, so we are actually approaching what appears to be a coastal setting, and that's a good thing. I think I see something over here. Is this going to be more Galena? Galena is lead. It's not that useful. Oh, it's Garni. Oh, holy crap. What a lucky seed this is. So Garnierite spawns naturally only in Gabbro, and only one rock type. And here it is, right here in this, what appears to be a marble biome. And so what that tells me is that the Gabbro is under the marble, and I honestly I would struggle as a player and as a avid fan of this mod to come up with a better combo of starting rock types, because Gabbro is so important in the late game as far as this Garnierite. Garnierite is nickel ore, and so what this means is that, and we've got these aspen trees coming in, that means that if we stick around here until the late game, this would be the resource that we need to advance from certain types of iron into advanced steel type of technology, which is great. So anyway, I'm tickled. These are crops. You know, you'll find these growing throughout the land. This is sugarcane. Sugarcane is an interesting thing because it's so hard to grow, especially this far north. We're at 13,000 north, so that's something to keep in mind. That is a very northerly climate. But I'm going to gather it up and at least have the seeds. And, you know, if we plant it soon enough, who knows? Maybe we can sneak it in. I really don't think I need to go farther north. I'm at 13,362 north already. So I think what I should really do is head south along the coast until I find the transition between the marble and some other biome. There's a ton of this sugarcane, though. Sugarcane is, this is such a cool mod. Each plant that you run across, and here's a cave system. I like to, if I do a landmark, I like to do this blue color. I'm not going to explore it now. It's dangerous, and I don't have the time. But, yeah, caves are cool. I'm going to, actually, speaking of dangerous, I'm going to grab a couple Douglas firs, because when we get to the nighttime, it's going to be treacherous. So you can see I just got 17 wood from that one tree. I'm going to grab another. Again, these are some of the most efficient wood generating trees in the game, so you definitely want to grab them if you find them in your game, because they're awesome. Okay, so I've got a pretty good amount of wood there. I could even grab one more. I'm so fortunate to have this particular... Oh, and I see a platinum nugget, it looks like. Okay, so we're just going to grab one more tree's worth of wood. Use the axe on the tree, obviously. And it, with the ItemPhysics, it's tetra, not platinum. But with the ItemPhysics, it is it just flips down to the ground. The item entity does. I kind of have mixed feelings about the ItemPhysics, and I might take them off. There's a couple mods that I have like mixed feelings about. One of them is ItemPhysics. One of them is there's like a localized weather mod. And it's not that I don't like the mods. It's just that they take up a lot of resources and they're not that useful and they don't change any blocks around. So I might experiment taking them on and off throughout this series. But yeah, you can play however you'd like. If you like those mods, keep them. This is your world. It is your imagination. And you do whatever makes you feel good. Okay, so here's some pigs. I am going to mark these pigs. I actually might stay on the beach tonight for survival because it's a lot safer and just easier to deal with. Ooh, that is that ore? I can't tell if that's ore I'm seeing down there. I definitely think that is gabbro rock that I see down there. These beaches are sand beaches, so each sand is reflective of the material, the rock type of your biome. So, and I have precious little food. I have these strawberries, so I'm gonna make a little beach shack right here on this peninsula. It's a pretty safe spot, based upon the fact that it's a peninsula, so it's a little bit isolated to begin with, and it's you can really surround it like this with these logs. Now I have a crap ton of logs because I'm blessed with Douglas fir. You might have to chop down quite a few more trees to have anything close to this elaborate of a first night shelter. But you do have to use these logs as logs. You can't really use them as planks like in vanilla because planks just don't. You have to use a saw to get planks. I'm making a fire starter by putting 2 diagonally like that. And I actually I'm running pretty low on sticks, but I'll just do this. So 1, 2, and 3 sticks on the ground, and then your fire starter, and that'll give you a fireplace here. Once it catches, okay. Go ahead and stick a few logs in there. I'm going to put my remaining stick in there and get some torches. Now these are Terrafirmacraft torches. They're different than Minecraft torches. They do burn out after a while. I'm going to grab a few more sticks here. Sticks are common on the beach. They are, actually, I think, yeah, I should turn the brightness up there so you can see better. Sticks are ubiquitous on the beach, but otherwise they're a little bit uncommon on the ground. And the mobs are starting to spawn. What I really should do is enclose this guy with my logs. I think I will do that to some extent at least. And then if a mob gets close, I might seal the entrance. And you can do this. You can shift right click and create these log piles. And that's what I'm going to do for now. And then if a mob gets close, I'll just simply put a log going laterally across there. But this is a pretty good beach survival shelter. I could harvest the sand too and make glass in here. Now, this particular fire is not that important other than just for creating these torches. You can also create torches by putting a torch somewhere in the world and then right-clicking it with sticks, but that creates 1 torch per stick. This process creates 2 torches per stick, and that's why I'm doing it this way. And I'm going to save these woods and take those out and let the fire die now. Now that we have light, there's no other purpose to that fire. I don't have any food to cook, so I'm going to go ahead and let that fire die. And one thing you want to do early on in this is the pit kiln. And I need to do a few of them. I've got only enough wood to do, well, if I chop down part of my shelter, I could do 2. But let's go like this, for sure. And then let's do, just trust me, we're going to do this design here. And this design here. And do, about 3 of those. Okay, so that's 4 in the corner for that. The jug, you might just have to look up on any NEI or on the wiki, or just pause when I did it just now, but the jug is a little bit more complicated. So you're going to dig 2 holes in the ground, and you're going to need You actually need a total of 8 wood per hole. You also need 8 straw per hole. Ow. Okay, there's one of my axes. Very concerned about the mobs on that cliff coming down, if they, especially that creeper. He could give me a really rough day. Okay, so I am going to take my clay objects. Now this large vessel, the first one I created, has to go in the pit by itself. You shift right click that into the pit. And then these guys, you can get 4 of them in there. This is going to help me travel and carry more and drink water better. I only have 28 straw, but that's enough. Okay, so we've got those covered with 8 straw in each hole, and now we need to put the logs in, 8 logs per hole, like so, and then we grab one of our little torches, and you just throw it on, and you'll see the little indicator at the top will tell me it has 8 hours remaining, which by the time that passes, it'll be daylight. So I'm just going to sit back and chill, and we'll resume during daylight. And we are back. Sun is rising. That's why I'm coming back. Actually, it's not because these are done. These still have 6 hours. So hopefully my enemies. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Don't come in here. You need to burn up. Oh god. This guy. Oh god. Run away. Oh. Running away. Running away. Here we go. Okay. So he's gone. That's. Thank God the sun was coming up when it did. I was looking for seaweed a little bit here. Oh, he's using my shelter to live. It's not for you. Tell you what, I can show you the hammer. Oh, ow. This is slightly dangerous because those spears are very painful. But you can just jump right in with your hammer. The hammer does good damage, not excellent, but good enough to get the job done. Damage to the skeleton. It does take some durability loss, but it'll get the job done. Okay, so going back over here, I'm looking for a little seaweed. This coast is so steep that it doesn't look like there's much, if any, right in here. There's some pigs. I am half tempted to kill the pigs. We do have other pigs around, and don't really need these guys. I'm going to go ahead and grab an aspen sapling while I'm here, because I don't think we have one yet, and I'm kind of looking for things to do while I wait for the pit kiln to finish. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to run over here and see if there is any seaweed over here. Ooh, we do have something. Is this tetrahedrite? This is rich tetrahedrite. So we're going to do exposed rich tetrahedrite in orange. And what is this? Okay, it's Galena. Again, Galena, not that useful, especially right now. I suspect if we did a tech node Firmacraft, Galena would be handy. Tech node Firmacraft being the sort of more techy version mod pack of this. So yeah, it could be useful there, but it's not that useful here. You can make lead out of Galena, and you can also, oh, I bet my pit kiln's done. You can also make silver, extract silver from Galena using the Uteri mod process, which is extremely complicated, but it is there for people if they are desperate for silver, which, frankly, silver is not the most common element in the game. But let me show you what we've got here. So first and foremost, we've got the large vessel here. Large vessels do fill with water if they don't have anything else in them. And we'll wait for that to happen. In the meantime, we've got these 3 small vessels. Now, I think I'm going to use this one for saplings and... oh, I don't know, my Minecraft torches. You can shift right click them on the ground. This guy I'm going to use for tetra my bushes. Actually, I'll use seeds. And then this one will be for minerals and metal. Put my clay. And I guess the I'm just gonna be getting more of that. Sure. Okay. So those are all there, and now I can empty this by clicking empty. Click on solid storage, and you can go ahead and put some things in here, including these guys. How handy is that, huh? And then you got your ceramic jug, which you're going to need for water. Well, you don't need it, but it's handy. I'm going to leave this little shack here. It would be a lot of work to take it down, and frankly, you never know when you're going to be up in the north and you need a place to survive. So I'm going to call this Survival Shack. Now, we are going to head south today. We do need some fresh water. Fresh water is just differentiated from salt water like this because with cattails. Cattails are your indicator of fresh water. This river is going to be fresh water. I can just tell you that from experience. Inland rivers tend to be fresh water, and then the coast obviously is your salt water. And you can see, well, I don't see any cattails, but if this were a little shallower, you'd see cattails. There's a little lake here. I bet you that's going to be fresh water too. I'm going to refill this while I'm here, though. Okay, so now that's what the water jug does. Anyway, so I'm going to head south today, and we're going to stop only for copper, tin, bismuth, or sphalerite nuggets, and food. And we're getting the exploration lag. You know, I think I was about to mention this earlier. When I upgraded computers, I got a beefy one, but it inexplicably doesn't have as much RAM as my other one. And I wonder if why aren't the cattails spawning? That's just weird. Unless this is salt water. No, it's fresh water. I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with one of the mods or something. But that lake doesn't have any cattails in it for some reason. Didn't see any by the river. I'm concerned that cattails aren't spawning for some reason. Okay, so just grabbing some of these foods. So this is good, because this will allow me to, not starve. I do have the yellow bell pepper and these cabbages, which are much more food per capita, to be honest. I got another hickory sapling randomly there. Yeah, this is going to keep me fed for days. See, look at all that. I've got a stack and a half of cabbage. Okay, so we got corn. Corn is actually extremely good. I'm sad that it's not ripe, but I do want these seeds really badly. So, corn, or maize, is a grain. So, food decays over time. None of this is decaying because we're far enough north that it's still pretty cool. I think, but eventually the food is going to start decaying in TerraFirmacraft. And you want to use a knife. You can either put the food in the crafting grid with the knife to cut off the decay, or you can hover your cursor over the food and simply press I want to say D. I believe it's D for decay. Okay, we've moved into a new biome. I just noticed it. Marble to diorite. I noticed because these rocks are lighter than these rocks. Diorite there, marble there. Diorite, marble. I like to denote the boundaries between rock type barriers. So looking at our map, we have this major river, and the diorite marble boundary is here. Sometimes you can even see it. I think it's this is where it's possibly, but the shading makes it hard to say for sure. So now we have a little bit of a dilemma. I do want to keep going south because we are pretty far north, but I don't want to leave the marble because marble's flexstone. By the way, diorite is really good too. Diorite happens to be something you can use for an anvil, and it's got some other mineral properties that are useful, but we'll get to that later. It is nighttime already again, and part of the problem is we are so far north. I think that might cut into the season, the time of year affects how long days are, and then of course we got a late start because we had to wait around for our pit kilns to finish. So I'm going to build a quick survival shelter and spend the night, and we'll pick it up here in the morning. I'm just gonna build here. The sand looks crazy. Okay, here's a good quickie survival shelter, and we'll pick it up here in the morning. So, and we got some barley here. That's good. Barley's great grain crop. There's a Enderman going crazy over there. Barley's a great grain crop. Oh, we got soybeans too. Soybeans are great as well. Soybeans are protein. They give you protein. They're the only plant, I think, that gives you protein. Barley is good because it is a grain, and it's good for, well, it's the same as the other grains as far as alcohol goes, but it, to me, seems a lot more natural to make alcohol using barley as opposed to, let's say, corn. There you have it. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about right here. There are cattails in this one. For whatever reason, up north, there were not as many cattails. We're now in the 1200s, by the way, and there's some more clay over there. We are at diorite here, and I wonder where the marble divide is. Okay, here's a crop that was added with one of the add-on mods that they throw in here. This is the TFC Melons and Pumpkins mod. These happen to be melons. I'd be much more interested in pumpkins. I just passed an... Oh, shit. Bears are bad news. You do not want to mess with them, and they will run at you and charge at you, and they are just a really tough foe at this stage in the game, and I really don't want to deal with them. So I'm going to go around. Alright, so I'm going to grab these bushes. These bushes are probably the most important thing in this general area. Again, bushes are a great source of free, well, not free, but pretty, well, yeah, it's renewable. It's, and these are cranberries, so they're a renewable resource that they bloom. This one will bloom in autumn, so if I get my base set up, which I will, we got rye, that's another grain. But if I get my base set up in good time here, I can get these bushes planted and ready to bloom at that time. And in my experience, bushes sometimes bloom more than once in a season. I could be wrong about that, but that's just my intuition telling me that. I'm going to get on the other side of this cave situation here. And we do have what appears to be a topographical boundary of sorts, a sort of ocean boundary off there. So what that tells me actually is that the diorite cuts all the way across. There's more grain. So let me show you what I mean. So the diorite marble divide we first encountered here, and since we're still in diorite down here, that tells me that it's not such a straight up and down line. It's probably more of a diagonal line. And this everything, yeah, because actually I bet you can see it even, well, that might just be shadows. But, you know, it's probably a diagonal line. So, you know, this is probably the end of the marble. I tell you what, guys, I feel like exploring is going to get a little old relatively quickly. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep exploring, and I'll do some off-cam exploring. And if I find something interesting, I'll bring you back in. And certainly if I find a place I want to set up, I will absolutely bring you back in for that. We are in the diorite area along the... Oh, I spoke too soon. We are so lucky. Cassiterite. Cassiterite is one of the best early game metals that you can find. Why is that? Well, copper is ubiquitous, so you're going to find copper almost no matter what you do. Like, even for people who are like, oh, I'm never going to find copper. No, I almost guarantee there's like no situation where there's not going to be some way of getting copper right away and a decent amount of it. And even if it's not plentiful in the surface, let's say you're on a little island and there's not much copper on the island, well, you can still pan for it. And trust me, it's pretty ubiquitous, certainly much more so than cassiterite. And then the other thing, and so cassiterite, just to give away the game here, cassiterite is what we use to make bronze out of copper. So that is an excellent find. And this area is littered with these cassiterite nuggets. Look at all this. I honestly think this is one of the best seeds I've ever gotten in TFC. And I've recorded at least 4 worlds, and I've played probably a dozen or 2 worlds in TFC. Okay, so I'm going to do off-cam exploring. I will pick it up when I find something. Okay, and I found something. So I basically just followed this river. I found this really intricate waterway, and I definitely want to go see what's over here because that looks neat. But I also found this. Now this is a block called peat grass, or peat, and to be honest with you, I've never encountered it before, even though I've played this a bunch. It's pretty rare. It's only in swamps. I looked it up, but it's neat because it provides a source of fuel. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest some of this up, and then we're going to go check out that archy kind of looking formation across the way, and then we'll move on. I think it probably stacks in 32, just like any other block. Let me just test it out. Yeah, that's as high as it stacks. Can't place it back in the world. That's interesting. I'm trying every permutation. I can't get it to go back in the world. So there you go. There's peat. That's a cool thing. And you can just harvest that up with the shovel. This looks like a really cool formation right over here. Looks to be an arch over a river flowing out to this ocean. This is salt water. You can harvest those fish too if you want, by the way. And we are going to check out this formation. Let's going to use the shovel for that. Okay. Yeah, this is like a double arch. That's really cool. Is it a triple arch? No, it's just a double arch, but that's still really cool. Okay, let me mark it on the map as the ominous music comes in. I'm gonna call it the Arches. Okay, I'm gonna keep exploring. I'll bring you back in when I find something. Okay, and welcome back. Just to finish out this episode, I wanted to show you where I think I'm going to be settling down here, and that is this place here, right near where I'm at, except for I've got a skeleton. These cliffs, these marble cliffs, stood out when I was exploring this area, and they're big, and then there's a river system, and there's an ocean system. There are natural resources. That appears to be sphalerite. I've been collecting that sort of thing. Oh. Yeah, we've got more. Sphalerite is pretty worthless without bismuthite, whatever it's called. But, well, it's not worthless, but it's far less useful, especially in the early game. But nonetheless, it's just good to have. We've got plenty of cassiterite and copper now, and this is a good place to settle. This river is really nice. It flows. Look at this nice flow. You gotta love the marble for rock type. This little overhang. I mean, but mainly it's going to be using these cliffs as a sort of natural fortress kind of thing. Ultimately, I'd like to build a castle. Frankly, a large castle where I have all my stuff. But this is kind of the area that I'm thinking about. This right in here could be the courtyard. And we've got a skeleton. Let me just dispatch him real quick. If I just knock him out to the light, he should go. There we go. Okay, so I actually think I marked it on the map right over here. Now, it's going to be a while before we can actually build up our base. Like with the fortress stuff. We need, like, you know, we need bricks and stuff to do that. But here's where I marked it on the map, and I think what I'll do is I'll just set up a little temporary house. I still haven't seen any cows. That's what concerns me, but I think I'll just set up a temporary house, like, right up in here somewhere along this river. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to think about where the farm is going to be. Is this... Oh, if that was a freshwater lake, that would be good. This is probably a freshwater deal. So maybe I should put... Because if the castle ends up going here or so, maybe like here. The other thing is that there are these springs, and I'd sure like to include at least one of those springs in our thing. So maybe I'll head east. But either way, I'm going to do some looking around off camera to find the optimal place, and then we'll pick it up here next episode. So if you've been watching, thank you, and we'll see you next time on TerraFirmacraft Season 2.